Islam family, peace and love. I'm Brother Yusiku Il. I am one of the people that work with the Ring and Stone Network. And one of our goals is to share and give information. At some point, if you go back to Blog Talk Radio / Ring and Stone Network, you'll see that me and Brother Abdullah did a lot of work through the years decoding certain alignments in our planet system and how it affects us. Especially, we did a lot of 4th of July stuff. The brother went in with the 4th of July and gave us a lot of information with the 4th of July. And so what I want you to do, I'm finally back a little bit. So I was glad when the brother called me and said that, he would like to do a show. And then, there was a lot of people that's dealing with the 222s and all of that in February, and now we're going to March. So it's really great to have Abdullah on the Ring and Stone Network. But the special thing is, in that time that we were off the air, I met a sister that I spent time with, I did sweat with, and I found that, she's a very, very dedicated sister. And dedicated Moorish sisters are very attractive, you know what I mean? Because of the conversation, you could talk to them about law, just like you're talking to one of the fellas. So what I did was I tried to pair Abdullah with Sister Amatullah Mama Chi Shabazz. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read my poem, and then I'm gonna get out the way, and Sister Mama Chi is going to do the interview, Dr. Abdullah Bey. I keep saying doctor, I apologize. Let me find, I gotta mute some people.
Blocking. Let me talk to you black people. We tired of.
Yeah. Okay, and Abdullah, will you unmute, and Mama Chi, please unmute too. Yeah, like that, because somebody has some background noise. So family, what I'm going to do is I'm give you a sister that's near and dear to me. And that's Amatullah Mama Chi Shabazz, and she's going to conduct this interview. Peace and love. Thank you. Are you there, sister?
She's unmuted.
Yeah, I have you now. I'm live.
Yeah, you're good. Thank you.
Good.
All right, good.
Okay, no worries. All right, well, peace and love, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am your host, interviewer, Amatullah Mami Shabazz, and I am honored to be able to interview Abdullah Bey. A lot of y'all already familiar with this brother. He has done great work, and he has full influence. So today, the topic of today is why do we celebrate Ash Wednesday? Many people not all the way familiar with Ash Wednesday. So we're gonna break it down. Right, brother, you ready to, if you could please just edify yourself some more to everyone who is joining us today.
Yes, Abdullah Bey is my name. I'm author of several books, Moors and Masonry, Etymology and Vocabulary. I've been teaching etymology since 1999. I actually started studying etymology in 1998. I've written etymology and vocabulary. I've taught etymology at Temple University Pan-African Study Community Education Program. I've taught over 1,000 adult students at the PASSEP program, which I'm very proud of. I actually took over Professor Burton, who had taught the class for 17 years. And I took over after he transitioned in 2003. And that was a great honor to carry on Professor Burton's legacy, as he had taught the class for 17 years. And I had taught the class from fall of 2003 up until fall of 2019, fall of 2019. So I have had long longevity there, as Professor Burton had longevity at teaching PASSEP. So that was a great honor for me. I taught nationality to over 5,000 students in the Kansas City Public School. In fact, the last chapter of Moors and Masonry Part 2, coming your way soon. Moors and Masonry Part 2 coming your way soon. That's the last chapter, chapter 13 of Moors and Masonry. It actually was a separate book, but I don't know when I'll get that book out. So I decided to take a chunk of the book and make it a chapter of Moors and Masonry Part 2. All right, that's something I'm very proud of. Teaching nationality to 5,000 students in the Kansas City Public School. So done a lot of work. I'm a member of the Moors and Pure Restoration Caucus. We began that 3 years ago, and that is to actually facilitate the political unity of the various Moorish body politics, even those who are classified as Black, Negro, colored. Even we have reached out to that. We also we essentially connected with Crumb or Crumb TV, and I was on Red Pill, Blue Pill, and I want to really thank them. And I'm going to be on Brother Najee's show next month. So I have a lot of connections, and I also know Sister Filet, founder of the Million Woman March. I've known her since 2017, and so I've actually done, been on her platform a few times over the past 3 or 4 years. So my tentacles are a lot of places, and that's helping to facilitate the national unity. We need a national political platform to address our political issues, dealing with the reversion of sovereignty, the recovery of the lost Moorish sovereignty. So, without further ado, I'll hand it over to Sister Amatullah.
Well, thank you so much for going to detail and breaking it down. And then you spoke about etymology. I'm excited about that part. Hope we can go and dive into that more today, especially just even breaking down the etymology of ash, 3-letter word. But I wanna go and dive in a little bit deeper in that as well. And just please explain what is ash. Like, be over, a lot of paid attention to it, or if you aren't necessarily the Catholic faith, or you haven't studied these thoughts, you may not be aware. But what is Ash Wednesday?
Well, I was, as I was preparing for this show, I was reflecting upon my experience as a child. I was actually went to Catholic school and went to Catholic services. I actually went to my sister and I. My older sister and I, we attended 2 services every Sunday. We attended a Catholic service in the morning, and then we were part of the Methodist Church at 11 o'clock. So that's really a new experience to be able to attend 2 services every Sunday. Well, I say, not 8 o'clock in the morning, Catholic service, at 11 o'clock, Methodist service. So I did my Holy Communion, made my Holy Communion at Holy Name School in North Camden, and I'm, since studying heavily, the culture and looking in the symbolism, particularly since the past 12, 13 years, I got really deep into the astronomy aspect of it, and I've gained a great appreciation for what I experienced, what I had experienced during my childhood, and I recall, the priest coming down the aisle, with the salt, shaking the salt, with the salt shaker. And I'm like, whoa, and a lot of candles. And so I was immersed in our culture. I was immersed in our culture at a very young age. Of course, I didn't understand it fully as I understand it now, but nevertheless, I was still immersed in our culture. So that's, the candles, the 12 stations of the cross, the stained glass windows, very immersed in our culture. So I want to be very clear in that, because oftentimes, the quote unquote Afrocentric folks, will become quote unquote Afrocentrics, as I did, quote unquote Afrocentric, and just start throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and I had done that. I had not celebrated Christmas, Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, Ash Wednesday, Palm Sunday, Easter, all that for 10 straight years. So I was a Afrocentric folk. I was one of those Afrocentric guys who threw everything away, You know, that's the European stuff. You know what I mean? You know, I want to claim. I was one of those. I raised my hand. I was one of them. I was one of them. All right. You know, so, and I got deeper into the astronomical meaning. What's that, sister? I didn't hear you.
No. I was trying to cut you off. I think, like, but when you what you were saying about throwing the baby in the bathwater, I agree with you. We should be able to disseminate what's important, what has value, and what we need to no longer just kind of associate with. So I agree with you on that. You have to be able to make a discernment on it.
Absolutely, and I wanted to share my experience with the audience here, because it's very important for me to share my experience, and so you get to know who I am and how I come, you know, in my journey, you know, and so that so and reading tons of articles, tons of books, and I was able to make the connection, and what I saw was that each Masonic order or religious, quote unquote, different religion have a chunk of the culture. And then I saw how what the European mission was to divide it and package it as different cultures. And so I clearly saw that. And so now I'm able to see the interconnectivity of the all. When I see, like I could go anywhere in the world. I can literally go anywhere in the world. All I need is an interpreter, because I don't have this different culture. I don't have this, I'm going to, you know, Egypt, different culture. China, different culture. India, different culture. Pakistan, different culture. You know, I don't have that mindset. You know, Sweden, different culture. Netherlands, different culture. French, different culture. You know, Mexico, different culture. No, you know, so in fact, if I were to go anywhere in the world, most likely within a week, I'll be teaching. Like I'll be teaching. I don't really see myself I'll be teaching. You know, and why am I saying that? Because of the divide, that the European conquest. You know, for instance, if I were in Sindhu, and what the Europeans, the British transliterated Sindhu, well, you have Sindhu, and it was Arabianized to Hindu, and then anglicized to India, which is still a British zone. And I was at the festival at Diwali. So I was at I'm at the festival at Diwali, and they have the huge elephant. Well, like, so my thing is, well, how are they going to teach me? Like, they're worshiping an elephant. They're worshiping that which was manufactured in a factory. Like, how is someone going to teach me bound down to something that they created in a factory? Like, they created in a factory and they bound down to it. Like, how would they teach me? Like, I'm like, Phil, and it's not an arrogant thing, but I'm keeping it real. How can someone teach me who's worshiping something that they created? Like, that which you create is greater than you. Like, I create something in a factory, now it's greater than me. Like, how that like keep it real. Keep it real. All right. So we'll get into the, you know, the elephant, you know, so we'll definitely get into that later on.
The symbolisms and all of
that. What it ties to.
All right, well, right. So I want
to Ganesh. We'll get into Ganesh.
Right on in. What the definition itself, and what's your take? Because you spoke about your experience, you shared with us your experience and having to, that you were still in our culture. Can you explain that a little bit more and give me your definition of what spirituality is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Difference between spirituality and religion. I would like for you to go in that.
Yes. We go to the etymology of the word spirituality. All right, so we have an abstract noun. We have spirit, show, the al, and ity. So you have two suffixes, and the ity suffix makes it an abstract noun linked to quality, state of, condition of. Then you have the AL, which means pertaining to. So the quality, state of, or condition of pertaining to the breath, pertaining to breathing. Meaning being bound to a prayer rug or praying on a prayer rug is not spirituality, unless there's breathing, unless you are breathing, unless there's systematic controlled breathing while you on the prayer rug, then that's spirituality. We're good. If there's no heightened understanding of the process of breathing, controlled breathing, then that's not spirituality. The word spirituality means breath. Period. Now, religion, religio, all right, religiere means to bind back, to bind back. So religion is the system of binding the people back to the divine mind, understanding the interconnectivity of the all. We are all connected. This whole false concept of different religions, we're not connected. This they call the interconnectivity of the all. That's a very important concept, because when I said before that I can go anywhere in the world because I understand the principle of the interconnectivity of the all. Events, an event in China, and an event that occurred in Mexico, how they're interconnected. And you begin to think this way, when you don't see things as separate. How are they connected? That's how the universe operates. The universe is mental. All its numbers.
I like numbers. So, okay, you spoke about the collective. Let's go in and share more about what is collective consciousness and how does that play a role in spirituality and also religion itself as well. Or
you have what's called the Akashic records and the super conscious mind. You have the super conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the conscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind picks up everything. And you have the super conscious mind. That super conscious mind is connected to the Akashic records. You begin to tap in, just like you have a radio and you try to connect to a particular channel and you hear the static and you finally connect to the station and you hear that smoothness. All right. So this is how your mind works. This is the radio frequency is based on how the mind works. So as you become connected, you begin to pick up information from the Akashic records. The concept of knowledge being learned. Knowledge is passed down. Knowledge is in the cellular memory. And that how do you tap into this DNA, or what they call the concept of the ancestors? How do we reconnect with the ancestors? The ancestors are the cellular memory. The DNA is a storehouse of information that is passed down. So the knowledge of building the pyramids, the knowledge of the ancient mathematical system, the knowledge of the sexagesimal system, the base 60 system, is in our cellular memory. And so it's being in the system of spirituality. All right, spirituality is one system in which you can, actually operate by proper breathing. You send more oxygen to the higher brain centers. Proper dieting, the A432, harmonic, the natural harmonic sound, colors, smells, different shapes.
Spoke about that
aid in stimulating the higher brain centers. The Albanians know this very well. They know our culture. They know our culture more so than a lot of us. But it's innate with us, though. So with them, it's mechanic. With us, it's natural. It's innate. You know, like you don't have to teach a 2-year-old how to dance, a 1-year-old how to dance. Like you don't have to teach a 1-year-old Asiatic child how to have rhythm. Like, you know, rhythm. That's not like, now who does that? Like none of us does that. None of our people teach their children a 5-month-old child to have rhythm. Like they have rhythm. It's natural. That's not taught. You may teach them a different dance, a dance step. I'm not talking about dance step. I'm not talking dance step. I'm talking about rhythm. That's not taught. Like you're not teaching a child to have rhythm. They just start dancing. You know? Where does that come from? Like, see, so
Talk about the DNA,
and I knew I didn't think I went off the subject.
right? DNA that you're speaking about, the passed down DNA.
Yes.
No. Oh, you didn't go off subject. And you spoke the DNA that you spoke about the information being passed down. Is that the mitochondrial DNA?
Yes.
That you're speaking about when you say it's passed down from, on the cellular level?
It's passed down, yes. And it's the elephant. Let's go back to the Ganesh. Ganesh, which is the main figure in the festival of Diwali. And this is huge. This is a huge festival. Ganesh is huge, the elephant. The problem is that our brothers and sisters are worshiping it, as opposed to that is just symbolic of themselves. So what happens is the true knowledge of the Ganesh has been lost. And they began to now it's a system of now worshiping. So there's no power in that. I mean, they can have it every year. It means it's no power in that because they're looking outside themselves. That's the whole trick, to get the people to look outside themselves. When the Ganesh is in you, you're the Ganesh. The Ganesh is the cellular memory. And the elephant is used because the elephant has a huge frontal lobe. And so the concept the elephant never forgets, that's why the elephant is used as a symbol of cellular memory.
What you saying I could straight a test for it because I have been studying nature. And one of the things that we studied was the elephant. When you spoke about it, it made me smile because there's a specific species of elephant that lives in the desert. And the very livelihood is based off of them being able to carry on where the water holes are at because they're in the desert. So the clan is led matriarch. She has literally kept the tribe or the clan of elephants going based off of information she received from a great grandmother elephant, and the information is passed down. So that's the very way that
You're lagging, sister, a little bit. I
don't know where to go for these water holes. You're real dire where you can go get water.
All right. You're lagging. It's like little
Oh man, I didn't want that.
Yeah, you might, if there's something you do. I don't know. It's like you break, it's like a little,
let me see,
little choppy.
Switch it to another device. Okay, let me see what I can come in under a different device.
It's just the same right now. All right, let me know.
Okay. Turn this off. Is that better?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Is that better?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. You have to do it.
Hold on, let me close it off on the computer because it's gonna still keep going. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Y'all can hear me better now.
Oh, yes. I had to
see me, hear me, all that good stuff. Okay, cool. Because sorry about that, y'all. Let me reset myself up here. Okay. Now, what did you hear? What didn't you hear? We can go to the next question if that's
the next question, because I heard, like I said, I responded kind with the Ganesh and the I heard that you talked about asked about the DNA, and I answered that. So we go to the next question.
Okay, perfect. So you kind of touched in on this at the beginning, but is Ash Wednesday considered a European or Christian holiday? Can you break it down more into detail about how it's associated with us and our lineage, our history per se, you know, directly?
All right, now you got two questions in one. I'm glad that you phrased it that way because it gave me opportunity for me to clarify the misconceptions. You said, or, is it a European or Christian holiday? All right. It's a Christian holiday, but it's not a European holiday. You say, huh?
Okay.
Abdullah, how can it be? You idiot, Abdullah. How can it be a Christian holiday and not a European holiday? All right, let me explain how. It is absolutely a Christian holiday. It's all about Christian. Let me explain how it's all about Christian. Karas. Karas is the oil that's secreted in the brain. So the ashes are placed on or above the pineal gland. That's the Christian. That's the Christian right here. That's Christ. Christ is right here. Christ is the oil secreted. The sunlight stimulates the serotonin and melatonin in the brain. It is absolute a Christ or Christian holiday. It has everything to do with Christian, the anointment. Right? Is it a European holiday? Now, European is a Phoenician queen. That's a Phoenician queen. So, in truth, I mean, I'm dealing with truth here. We're dealing with truth. We're dealing with truth. I would have to say, yes, it's a European holiday. Now, hear me out. In truth, I'm talking, we deal with absolute truth. You want me to deal with absolute truth. It is a European holiday. Because European is a Phoenician queen. That's the name of Phoenician queen, Queen Europa. She named her subjects Europeans. They're subjects. Those who we call them Europeans are subjects of the Phoenician Queen Europa. But in the absolute truth, it is a European holiday, as European is the Phoenician queen. I got to deal with absolute truth now. So if we're going to deal with absolute truth, yes. Yes, yes for both. Okay.
So yes for both. Now, can you go into a little bit detail? What's the connection with Louisiana?
Is it an Albion holiday? Let's ask that question. Is it an Albion holiday? Now ask me that question. Is it an Albion holiday?
Is it an Albion holiday?
No. Now, is it an Albion holiday mean those who look like George Bush now going there? No.
Okay.
So that's too different. Albion and European are not the same.
Okay. One is not to be determined that the other is the same. All right, I got you. And I completely understand that. Now
we got to deal with absolute truth here.
So we got Ash Wednesdays. Can you give an explanation on what is the connection, or is there a connection between Ash Wednesdays and Mardi Gras or Fat Tuesday, the Louisiana?
Right. Yes. Now we have Fat Tuesday. Now Tuesday is Martes. So Martes Diaz, day of Mars. So Mars deals with war. It's symbolic of Big Fat Tuesday, big war. So the celebration of Mardi Gras is the celebration of defeating us. So our people don't know, they don't know. Mardi Gras. Yeah, man. You know, and the Europeans laughing at us. or Albion's laughing at us. You know, why they participating in Mardi Gras? Don't they know that this is a celebration of our defeating them? Like, yeah, we get, you know, yeah, this is the culture. I mean, not this is their culture, and you know, but the actual celebrate Mardi Gras, big war. We had, you know, we defeated them in war, and you know, they controlled the seas. They dominated the seas in the Mediterranean and Atlantic, and they seized us, and they seized our ships, and we had extensive trade and protection treaty with them, you know, with the Moroccan Empire and so forth. And they were, you know, very powerful Moroccan Empire, you know, and we paid them annual tribute for protection, so we can, you know, expand our trade and commerce, and you know, and we had this extensive military engagement with them, and they seized hundreds of thousands of us over, you know, 100-year period, you know. But you know, we were finally, you know, able to, you know, bring them down. We were able to bring the great Moroccan Empire to her knees. Now we have this, you know, we have the Mummers Parade, and we have the Mardi Gras, and you know, we have the Reconquista in Valencia, Spain, and you know, we have all these different annual celebrations celebrating the great defeat of the mighty, powerful Moroccan Empire.
So which war was it that they gained this I guess title? When was Mardi Gras connected? Because it's interesting to me. That's my first time hearing that particular breakdown of Mardi Gras itself, and especially knowing some people indigenous to Louisiana, and it's very much so tied into their culture. No matter what part of they from, you know, they all have affection for Mardi Gras. So what is it? Which war was it that we was defeated in that it was created? You know, Mardi Gras came.
Let me qualify something. They're not indigenous to Louisiana. Hear me out.
Okay.
Very important. Louisiana is not the land. Louisiana, so they're not indigenous to Louisiana. It means that is a Spanish. Louisiana is a French zone. That's the French, the occupying sovereign, France. With what they did was with the survey map, they created a political survey map. And with that political survey map, you know, they surveyed a large portion of our land. And under occupation, on the survey map, it's Louisiana, but Louisiana is not the land. So we can't be indigenous to Louisiana, because that is a French political zone, and France ceded through the Treaty of Fontainebleau in 1762 that to Spain. So that's very important to understand political. We talk about political jurisdiction and territory. Territory and political jurisdiction. Louisiana is not a territory. That is a political jurisdiction that was established by France. That was established by France in the 1600s. France, from the 1660 something to 1762. Where they ceded it to Spain. So we must understand the difference between political jurisdiction and territory. So our people are not indigenous to Louisiana.
Okay, so
not Louisiana. And I'm glad you said that, sister, because every step of the way, any opportunity that I can for our audience is to clear up any misconceptions.
For sure. So I'm glad you went into that, and I'm not going to take us too far off of our topic, but
sister, just say it, and because it gives me an opportunity to clear up misconceptions.
Alrighty, okay. So what you said, to elaborate a little bit further in on the territory and the land itself. So if the actual land itself is not titled Louisiana, what would the land be called then? What is the true name of the land that goes by Louisiana?
That's part of the Moroccan Empire. It's part of the Moroccan Empire. The Moroccan Empire extended the globe. All right. You have a book titled, a 3-volume book titled Moorish Empire in Europe by S.P. Scott. From 700 to 1492, when at the Treaty of Granada. And so we were able to hold on to Granada up until November 25th, 1492, and the treaty was put into force. However, to this very day, that treaty, that cession treaty, in international law, a cession treaty does not remove any personal rights. Any personal rights to property does not remove. So to this very day, the Moors' personal rights
is still intact.
Exactly. That treaty to this very day.
I got you. Well, we know that treaties, sometimes they have a hard time. They get broken, stepped on, abused, forgotten, all that good stuff. So I guess it always comes down to how can you demonstrate. And even in Louisiana, but like I said, I don't want to go too far. I'm not gonna go too far off our subject for today. So with Ash Wednesdays,
we'll come back another time. And just
we're gonna go back another time on that one. So we in March today, March 1st, and with Ash Wednesdays and its correlation to spring. Can you give us more of the connection of those two? Ash Wednesday, the connection to spring, the connection to new life, and also this spelling that the new year, so to speak, is not in January, but pretty much in spring.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, no problem. All right, so as the people can get a clear understanding, is what I'm going to do is we're going to look at our spring, but to understand the increase of sunlight, we're going to let me just start with the summer solstice.
Right.
The summer solstice in the northern hemisphere is June 21st, and that is where the sun, it is at its highest elevation. It hovers for 3 days. Now, from June 24th, the days get shorter. So there is a 10-minute decrease in the day. So if you look at the sunrise and sunset charts, you'll see a negative. You'll see a negative because the sun is now decreasing all throughout July, all throughout August. All right. You have September, October, November. All right. Up until December 24th, you'll see now to December 24th, or between the 24th and 25th, you'll see a plus 40-second increase, right? So now you have the increasing of light. It's every 10 days, every 7 days, there is a 10-minute increase. So now it's increasing every 7 days, 10-minute increase, 10-minute increase, 10-minute increase, 10-minute increase. Now what happens? The sun is getting stronger. Days are getting, meaning the days began to get longer on December 24th. That's Lent. December 24th is Lent. The 24th or the 25th is Lent. How can you say this, Abdullah?
Right. I was just about to ask you that.
Sunrise. So everyone who knows me knows they ain't gonna say Abdullah say. After we done tonight, I guarantee you they're not gonna say Abdullah said. I am strong on that. They're not gonna say Abdullah said. Go to the sunrise and sunset chart yourself. Google it yourself, so you won't say Abdullah said. You're going to see negative, 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 negative. Up until December 24th, you're going to see a positive. That is the mark of the lengthening, even if it's just 30 seconds, because it wasn't lengthening, it wasn't getting longer, it was getting shorter. It was in a negative. So the beginning process of the lengthening is December 24th or 25th. That is mathematical and astronomical. It's not, Abdullah said. You cannot tell me, based on astronomy, that March is the beginning of Lent. Because you're telling me that that is the marker, the point where the days begin to lengthen, and it does not. Yet, once again, go to the sunrise and sunset charts. There is a 30-second or 40-second increase, but it's an increase though. That is the marker of the day. The solstices. You have the winter solstice and the summer solstice. Those are the 2 points of the sun's outer limits. You have the sun's furthest northerly point. That's the summer solstice. You have the sun's furthest southerly point, which is the winter solstice. It hovers for 3 days. Jesus lies in the tomb for 3 days. After the 3rd day, Jesus rises again. That is Lent. That is Lent. We're talking astronomy.
Okay.
You can prove it astronomically.
Well, even when you're saying that, right? Because when you look up what is Ash Wednesdays, it does speak about Lent. Like, technically, isn't today supposed to be considered the first day of Lent, right? Today, March 2nd. I mean, March.
I know.
Technically, if you look it up in the definition of it. So when you said that, it was just interesting to me, and you spoke about Fat Tuesdays. Can you speak about the meaning of Shrove Tuesdays?
You said Shrove?
Shrove, right? Because I guess the Catholic in their teachings or something, does they have a connection? Or let me ask you that. Does Shrove Wednesdays have a connection?
I'm not familiar with Shrove Tuesday.
SHROVE?
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. So in the Catholic, got you. In a Catholic, when I was doing research about the connection for Ash Wednesdays, Shrove Tuesdays came up, and it was the day before they cited it. So I wanted to know if you had any more information on it per se, on the Tuesday. You broke down the Tuesday, but what is Shrove Tuesday? It was just, I never heard of it.
But I haven't either. So I'm glad you brought that, because that's something for me to learn. But I'm not familiar with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something for me to learn. So I definitely text that to me later, and because I would like to, expand my, knowledge base on that. All right.
For sure. I definitely will. I definitely get that over to you. So the real spring, what would you consider the real spring then? What's the date for the real spring? Is that the spring equinox?
Yes. All right. Let's look at the astronomy. Say the real spring. What do I consider the real spring? Let's look at the astronomy. You have the solstitial points and the equinoctial points. The equinoctial points are 2 points where the sun crosses the equator. The sun crosses the equator. The sun crosses the equator at the vernal equinox, March 21st, in the northern hemisphere, and also at the autumnal equinox. All right. So it's measurement. It's charting. It's charting the equinoctial points to determine. All right. Let's look at this. You have your sunstone circles. Your sunstone circles are throughout the world. Those are calendars. Those are sunstone circles. You have Stonehenge. You have Newgrange, and different markers that mark the winter solstice and the summer solstice. You have also markers that mark the equinoctial points. So it's a charting of it. So using the knowledge of astronomy, this is how it's determined. Now, the summer solstice was the first point that they determined. Why? Why is the summer solstice easier to chart first? Because that is when the sun is at its highest elevation. So it's easier to chart. So you use the summer solstice point to chart the winter solstice. And once you have those solstitial points, then you can chart the equinoctial points. This is how our ancestors did it. So what I'm doing is giving the astronomy of it. So it's not, once again, not what Abdullah said.
Right. You're doing it based off of science. It makes sense like that.
Right. And keep in mind, and below the equator, the below the equator, it's going to be fall. It's not going to be, spring. It's not spring everywhere in the world. So it's a 6 months difference. So while below the equator, it's going to be fall, and here it'll be in the northern hemisphere, it'll be spring. That's why I said northern hemisphere. Don't know what I'm saying, northern hemisphere. I'm continuing saying northern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere. I'm saying that deliberately.
What's one of the reasons why you deliberately saying northern hemisphere?
Because
So you can
in
make
the
a
southern
determination.
hemisphere, it's fall. It's going to be while it's spring here, it's fall there. That's why. So I don't want people to think that it's spring all throughout the world. Because people don't know, I can't assume that people know this. Trust me. Because there's people that do not know this. And they'd be just surprised, like, what do you mean? It's not spring all over the world? Absolutely not. There's a 6 months difference? You mean that is fall there and the spring here? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. Can't take that for granted that people know. We know that for sure.
Let me continue finish answering the question about spring. Now, we're looking at, and it's tied to Ash Wednesday, because now we're looking at the increased energy of the sun. All right, increase in the day. All right, so there's more sunlight. There's more sunlight. People are more rejuvenated. All right, so this connection to Ash Wednesday, all right, because you have the stimulation of the mind. All right. Then you also have the stimulation of the sun, the increased light of the sun. So now you have equal day, equal night. You would have about 12 hours and 10 minutes of daylight and 11 hours and 50 minutes of night. That's your equinox. That's why it's called equinox. So that's the relationship there.
Already. And thank you for that. The connection between the first off, I always find it very intriguing that there's so many different depictions of when spring is, or the beginning of the year, when is the true New Year's. So to have that crystal clear for everyone, I hope that open your mind up to being able to identify what you spoke about, the breaking down of the time. So just to kind of go back a little bit on that, is that one of the reasons, or I guess could be justified as one of the reasons for when they set the time back? So when they be like spring forward, spring back, are those related at all?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
That's political. That was done in the Midwest. All right, it has nothing to do with astronomy.
Gotcha.
That like Satan has nothing to do with astronomy. It has all to do with, all right, that they wanted to increase the workday, in the Midwest, and that's artificial. That's all that is. It has nothing to do with astronomy. It's just all had to do with industry in the Midwest of increasing the workday by 1 hour. It's artificial. There's no astronomical connection to it at all.
Got you. Okay. Thank you. So we spoke about some of the animals. You spoke about the elephant. We kind of went in and talked a little bit about the elephant. But can you speak more on what Ash Wednesday in its relation to the snake and the dragon?
Yes. Now the ashes are placed, and it depends on who the priest is, because a lot of times they'll place it too high up. Some will place it on the pineal gland. Some will place it, so it depends who the priest is. I mean, because that's all, because I know, because I've been through that when I was a child. Sometimes I had it placed on the pineal gland. Sometimes I placed it directly right here in the part of the forehead. Sometimes they had placed it real up here, real high. So it depends who the priest is. If they're rushing to do it, that's all. So we know that they place it on or above the pineal gland. So that's key. That's key to understand that. Now, the snake, that is emblematic of the Kundalini energy. Now, the Pope has a staff that has 2 intertwined snakes that ascends to a pine cone. So this also on the ambulances that we've seen all our lives. You see a snake spiraling a rod, and yet they say, well, the snake is evil, you know, but yet they're using it right in front of our face. You look at that regeneration. So here we have, you know, representing a regeneration, a renewal of the mind. Though this, with their plate, you know, merely placing the ashes, it does not renew the mind. It's just symbolic. You don't renew the mind by placing ashes on somebody's forehead. That's just, it's symbolic. So what I'm doing today is connecting the symbolism to the real. What does it actually mean? What does this symbolic, you know, ceremony represent? Why is it placed on the forehead? This is what this show is about today.
Yeah, for sure. We do want to know what does it, and so with that energy, once they place it over the forehead, what is that symbolic of? Like, what is the next step that it's supposed to do for the person, or the symbolism of the cross being placed on above or around the pineal gland?
Well, and in truth, it does nothing for the person. In truth,
okay.
What it does for the person, nothing. All right, let's follow me. So people understand the nothing. You put ashes on here. Now, what happens? Like, you put ashes on your forehead. What happens? Like, is there some magical? Is there some increase in the mind, and nothing happens? So that's why I've said that it's symbolic, and I'm explaining. So you say what does it do for the person? Absolutely nothing. I mean, they're no more advanced than they were like to say like 10 seconds. They're waiting in line, right? And now they're next up. And once they get the ashes, they're no more advanced than they were 10 seconds before they did it.
Mm.
Not just because I just want to, because you asked the question, which is a good question. I appreciate the question. And so what I do, sister, is I answer in such a manner to get people to keep people to think, you know, to stimulate thinking. And this is my methodology. This is what I do, is to actually facilitate thinking. Your question is a very good question.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. And my mind is definitely stimulated right now. Okay. All right. So you spoke about the snake. What about the dragon, though? What exactly, what role does the dragon play?
The same relationship as a snake, the Leviathan,
it's evolved. Okay.
Yes. Now the dragon breathes fire, and the fire represents enlightenment, illumination. So that is the symbolism of the dragon in relationship to the snake, because the key is to get people to see the connection with the snake, the dragon, the Leviathan, the ass, because we've been conditioned to this false concept of different culture. See, they use the dragon, you know, and over there they use the snake. See, that's a different culture, see?
Got you. And when all along, one is just an evolved version of the other, basically. Yes. Got you. So
the origin is the same.
Exactly the same. I got you, brother. So on Ash Wednesdays, let's kind of go into some of the more esoteric part of it. Can you give me what's the connection between Ash Wednesday and the Illuminati?
Yes.
So walking right on from the snake, moving forward, you know, let's go ahead and get into that.
We're gonna come back to that because it's tied. Now let's look at the etymology of the word. You have noon, which is shine, and the il is the prefix, means upon, shine upon. In the movie, the what's it called? Laura Croft. The Laura Croft character. That is Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider. Laura Croft is in the cave with her father. and he's explaining to her that Illuminati is those who are enlightened, collectively. So he explained Illuminati in its proper sense. Those who are illuminated collectively. That's Illuminati. Now you have the rap industry, the music industry, the entertainment industry. They use Illuminati in the security.
Need everybody to mute their lines, please. If you are not, if you would please check, make sure you mute it.
They use the Illuminati in its distorted sense, blood ritual, Whitney Houston, and Michael Jackson, that's the Illuminati. See, they're deaf, see, they died on a such and such day, and see, that's the Illuminati. See, that's a blood sacrifice. See what they're doing? Now go back to the movie Tomb Raider. That he used it in the proper sense. Those who are enlightened collectively has nothing to do with no blood sacrifice, with evil. It deals with the illumination of the mind, the activation of the pineal gland, or Illuminati. Because if you're talking about the enlightenment, it only can be done through the activation of the mind or the higher brain. This is the higher brain. This is the seat of Christ. This is Christ in me. Christ is in me, right here. The anointment, oil, the secrete in the brain, the pineal gland, Christ in me. This is Christ right here.
It is the inner being, right? That pineal gland. Even when you spoke about the staff with the pine cone, all of that is symbolism for a reason. That is coming to the pine cone, the symbolism of the pine cone itself.
That's right. The intertwined snake ascended the pine cone.
Definitely. So with us sharing the information today about Ash Wednesday, what is one of the key things that we can absorb and how we can use this information to move us forward, to kind of challenge people to start to expand themselves on this knowledge and spiritually? How can it help evolve us spiritually by knowing this information?
All right, that's a great question. That's a wonderful question. Now, what creates a division among us, among people throughout the world? What creates a division among people throughout the world? Misconceptions.
Okay.
No, not religion. No. I'm glad you said that, so give me a chance to clarify. Religion doesn't. Religion does not divide people. Let me be clear. Religion does not divide anyone. The distortion of religion divides, not religion. We talk religion.
That's the concept.
I'm talking religion tonight. Like, all right, what I'm saying they're going to divide. I'm not talking about this. This won't divide people. What I'm talking won't divide people. It will bring people back together. It's the distortion of religion,
right,
that divides, not religion. We want to be very clear. I want to make sure, and I'm glad you said that, sister, because it gave me an opportunity for me to clarify that. We want to be very clear, because that's the whole trick, is to take our culture and distort it and get you to separate from it and say religion ain't doing anything. They're distorting religion. All right, let me explain that, what I mean by that. Well, let's talk about the snake. Let's talk about the snake. You snake in the grass. You snake. Oh, a snake. You call me a snake, which is good. That means I'm wise. But no, they use snake to refer to evil. That misconcept. Sin. Give me another example. The misconcept of Christ, referring to Christ as a single male, blonde hair, blue eyes. Or if it was me, let's say it's me. They say somebody that looks like me and say, well, he is the Christ. All right. I want to clear this up. We're gonna clear this up. Because a lot of Afrocentric folks, and this is for Afrocentric folks, Afrocentric folks will take the European image off the wall. And they replace an image that looks like me. And I say, well, that is the Christ. That's a misconcept. I want to be clear. Afrocentric folks, that's a misconcept. To point to someone like me and say, well, that is the Christ. What are you doing? You what? Took that and related this to one person. To one person. You took it out of its science, the Christ, the seed, the pineal gland, the anointment, and you relate it to one person, even if it looks like me. If you took the European down and put someone that look at me, it's still wrong. That's what Afrocentric form. That's still wrong because you're pointing to just one person. Now, thank you, sister, because it gives me opportunity to clear up misconcepts.
For sure. So what you're saying is that they take themselves out of it. They remove the concept of that. It's basically a reflection. They should be looking inward, right? Am I getting okay? I got you. I understand. And I like, okay, so with the question, even the question I asked about the Illuminati, right? The esoteric, how does Ash Wednesdays tie into us, our history about, was this a ritual that we practiced? Was this something that was a part of our customs, our practices that moved us forward? Or is this something that has been misconstrued and twisted?
All right. The Ash Wednesday, the whole ceremony of putting the ashes on the pineal gland, above the pineal gland or on the pineal gland, is tied to this. One culture, reflected differently, but one culture. That's the pineal gland. All of these images tie right to the pineal gland. This is ancient, thousands of years right here.
Right.
You'll see statues all over the world. You see in Vietnam, right? Statues with 7 snakes protruding from the spine. 7 snakes. You see, so and throughout the world, you don't see the snakes being thrown against the wall. They're stepping on the snakes, trying to destroy the snake. It's what? Revered. So why is the snake revered in all ancient world culture? And now today is what? It's evil. How'd that happen? How'd that happen?
Everything gets twisted and twisted around. So how would you, what would
division? It's not religion. Religion is not doing it. Man is doing it.
But
I
agree with you. I totally agree with you.
They're distorting the.
But when you look at religion is being, I guess, spoken. Religion is delivered by a man. So yes, we could say religion is not the division. However, if religion is being delivered by a man, the religion is being depicted, our holy books, and this is particularly my point of view. But if the book has been presented to us, it was written, then it was presented and written based off of the point of view of a man or whoever, like man, right? So technically, it will be both. It's not just one. Religion, like you spoke about the misconceptions, how it's misconstrued, the definition or the interpretation, because everything is up to interpretation. It's your perception, it's how you perceive it. So if religion is being perceived as something that is not supposed to be, or if it's being misrepresented, then technically it falls under the same batch. That's all I'm saying. It's pretty much it can be, we can say it's not religion, but if religion is a vehicle that's being used to, I guess, spread disinformation, misinformation, then technically it has to be looked at as well. It can't be dismissed. Or you saying it should be dismissed?
All right, my question to you is it religion? Is it religion?
Religion?
Yeah,
religion?
Is it religion?
I think religion is one of the biggest dividers. Personally, I think religion is one of the biggest dividers because of the concepts that people have of religion. So
is it religion? I'm gonna ask the question again. Is it religion? All right, let me explain. Let me explain. I say that a man is the Christ. Is that religion? A man, whether it looks like me or Albion. And I say that is the Christ. Is that religion?
No, but it's the study of the word that this man supposedly said, did, or projected. That's what religion would be. So it's not just the image of that man. They're not just pointing to this man, but they also speaking the words that supposedly came from this man, the way they're supposed to move forward with this man. So at that point, now you stand in their religion, right? Is that what you point to? Not the imagery, but the word in itself. They go together.
All right. I take the principle of astronomy. The name Jesus, which goes back to the Babylonian, Chaldean, Phoenician, and Egyptian. I-A, I-O, I-U, I-E, which is tied to this, which is the actual sun. And the epistemology, how one knows knowledge, its original meaning and application is astronomy. And we personify the sun and the moon and Venus. Our ancestors did that. We personify.
Right.
But we had an understanding of the personification is connection to the real. You come along and you distort that. You take it out of its original application and intent. And then you say, it's religion. No, that's distortion. That's not religion. No, religion is the original intent. The religion is the astronomy. Jesus died on the cross, the winter solstice. That's religion. You take it and you distort it. Is that religion?
It's a messed up story. That's what it is.
No, you distorting it. Is that religion? You distort our ancestor stuff. Is that religion? Is
well, technically
religion?
Well, when you look at the Bible and the fact that there's multiple different versions of the Bible, so I mean, they still people not looking and say, well, let me compare this version of the Bible to the one that the 2-3 versions that came before. They still take that word for what it is.
You didn't answer the question, sister. You went to the Bible. I'm talking about my example. See, I'm not talking about the Bible.
Okay.
I'm talking about my example. My example. Let's go back.
It will still be religion. It is. It will still be religion. Because to someone who didn't know the truth, that stands as the truth.
Now it's still religion. You took it from its truth. You took it away from its truth and intent. And is it still religion?
It will be still considered religion to some people. Yeah, it will be. It is. If enough people believe in that new version of this supposed truth, the distorted version of it, and they stand on that, and they all can attest that this is our religion, this is the new truth, then it becomes their truth. It becomes their truth, and it becomes a religion that they seek truth from, or spirituality, or something, whatever, peace, balance, whatever it is that they, obtain it from their particular religion. Because that's what has happened. If you have enough people that agree in this.
Is it religion? We know what has happened. You saying it is religion. That the distortion is religion. You're calling it the distortion religion. So what is the truth? All right, this is good. This is good dialogue. So you're referring to the distortion as religion. So what is the truth? But because you can't use the same words. All right. What is the truth then? What is the truth of it? Its original application, astronomy, mind science. So you said the distortion is religion. So what is the truth of it? What would you call the truth of it?
Natural law. I will call that universe. What you're speaking about, if the truth is based off of natural principles, then the truth is nature, right? Regardless of anything, everything you're speaking about, astrology, sciences, all of that is nature, right? If we talking about that, that's nature. That's the truth. Nature is the truth. But once you start breaking it down into the fables and all of this, everything at that point can get distorted. That's what it's all up to interpretation. The way I tell a story about truth may be different from how you tell an actual story about truth. The way I tell a story about a lesson of love may be a different interpretation of how you tell a story of love. So ultimately it gets distorted, and it is in their books. The stories are distorted, the stories are twisted. However, they still look at it, their religion. It's still looked at upon as, this is my religion, this is my doctrine, what I go by, whatever, so it still remains as some people's truth, even though it may be a lie. They standing on their lie.
All right, you said some people's truth. Let's deal with epistemology. Epistemology is a branch of philosophy of how one knows knowledge. All right, we have truth and some people's truth. How is truth determined? Like you say, some people's truth. You have truth and some people's truth. So now we have two terms here. We have truth and we have some people's truth. And so what I'm doing here is taking the opportunity to, to use epistemology to stimulate critical thinking. Because it's about stimulating critical thinking, and because it's not just about throwing a bunch of information. It's as we present information, this is good dialogue. We are stimulating critical thinking and reasoning, which is absolutely needed.
Definitely, I agree. Most definitely needed. So, okay, you said there's truth and
your term, some people's truth. You say some people's
right,
truth.
it's some people's truth, which is some people's truth because it might not be my truth. Like I can't claim it if it's not mine. If it's not a principle for me, it's not my foundation, then it's some people's truth, which I exclude myself. That's when I say some people's truth.
So we have another term. We have truth, some people's truth, my truth.
All right.
Truth, some people's truth, and my truth. Now, what's the difference among the three? Truth, some people's truth, and my truth. And the reason I'm doing this, sister, is for the listening audience.
Right.
To learn how to study, how to think. When they listen to people, I'm giving them what I do. This is what I do. I would take truth, write it down, line. Some people's truth, line. My truth, boom, that's what I do. And then, well, what's the difference? I'll use epistemology. See, and so we're freeze phrasing the conversation and then giving them a methodology in which they analyze and study. So this is great dialogue, sister.
Indeed it is. And I like how you spoke about the breaking down. I homeschool my children. So that's, to me, a lot of times we get so far from the basics and the fundamentals. Writing things down, making a mind map that walks you through everything and you can see it playing out. So just even writing those three things in columns like that, you're able to identify that there are three columns. One, that it's not all in the same, it's not all under the same, column, and that there is a difference in each one of those three. So just simple steps like that, it is almost like a critical thinking exercise.
That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it, which is very important. Very important.
It is. We spoke about the minds, and most people are not as sharp as they should be, which that brings me to my next question. And it ties back into, we're talking about Ash Wednesday. Yes, for sure, homeschooling is the way to go. But as far as what we're speaking about, to tie back into Ash Wednesday and the discernment of people, Ash Wednesday itself. So was this a ritual that was practiced by our people, our ancestors, or basically, and I asked a question similar to this. I'm rewording it a little bit because I don't think I quite got the answer.
What it is, it's just a symbolism of ancient science. It's a preservation of an ancient science. that deals with mind, science, technology. Ancient technology is based on mind, science, technology, and pineal gland resonance. Modern technology is based on mind, science, and pineal gland resonance. It's the same science. Right. It's the same technology. It's the same. The ancient technology, the modern technology, the same is based on the ancient technology. Modern is based on the ancient. Mind, science, and pineal gland resonance. The heart machine and others. We are walking batteries.
Right.
If you look at, if you go into my book, Illuminati, Illumination of the Mind, I show studies. Billions of dollars have been spent. The Albion has spent billions in studying melanin. Billions. And the melanin, which is actually carbon, what's called neuromelanin. The sunlight stimulates the serotonin and melatonin in the brain, activating the higher brain centers. So the Ash Wednesday, it being a ceremony, which is just a preservation of the mind science. So they're taking it from us, you know, they're taking it from us and they're connecting them and doing it in a ceremonial format. But the ceremony alone doesn't activate anything.
Got you. Okay, and that's why I was just coming to my next question. Is that something that we should be practicing? Is this something that people should start to incorporate in, you know, their daily, whatever, yearly activities or something that they put together? That was my next question. And I think you just answered it.
What they need to do is understand how to activate the higher brain centers. Because that's right. The mere ceremony does nothing. Hear me out. It does nothing. You go through it, you no further along than you were 10 seconds ahead, no further along at all.
All right, so y'all hear that? Don't worry about the ceremony.
All right. Because I was to be clear that there is no breathing involved, no systematic breathing, you know, as far as, and there's no methodology to increase. I mean, going standing in line, getting on your forehead. There's no methodology of spirituality, breathing. There's no music involved that, you know, activate. There's nothing that's involved in that's going to stimulate the higher brain senses.
Right.
And what the talk tonight is to make it clear, what does it represent? Why is it placed? It represents the pineal gland activation and symbolism. It's just a ceremony, symbolic. It's not activating nothing, but it's just, you know, because I didn't want people to think that is the Albion, that that this ceremony, you know, has no connection to our culture. And so when I'm explaining it actually does, and I'm explaining what the culture actually is.
Gotcha.
What the culture is, what the science is, what its true representation and true meaning is. And I
appreciate the breakdown.
It allows me to clarify, you know, either further. If you got another one for me to clarify, please do.
Well, I want to ask, we have people tuning in with us right now. Do you all have any questions? You can put it in the chat. I'll make sure, you know, we get that addressed as far as on the topic, or let me see, I'm looking in. For me or for the brother, we can elaborate on, because as far as what I wanted to ask, you touched every point that I had. And even to bring it all the way to the home, bring it home again at the fact that it's not the action of the placing of the lines in the cross, because I'm not familiar with Christian cultures. I grew up in the Nation of Islam, so it always was kind of different and new to me. Anyway, however, when you can get back to the basis that it's not about that action that they're doing, but it's about what it represents, and it represents us awakening ourselves. It represents us getting back in tune with ourselves and tapping into, what it means. What is this area about? What is the activation? Or in the mix up of the dates, that's always, we know it's a mix up, it's a date mix up in everything they do. I think that's something that is common for all of the dates that they have. It's some kind of mix up in the date itself to kind of misalign that energy that we can receive from it. So thank you for that clarity. I did learn a lot as far as Ash Wednesdays and the origin itself, how we can start back to understand and analyze these dates, these times, and the meanings of it, and really bring it back home to us, a connection to us outside of some image. Like, okay, praise the Lord.
Let me explain the Wednesday. The Wednesday is Merculi dealing with the planet Mercury. And Mercury is the planet of communication. And that ties to Dauti. Dauti deals with, communication, deals with intuition, telepathy, clairvoyance, that higher mind communication. That's Dauti.
Okay.
So that's why it's at Wednesday. That's not Ash Wednesday. See, Dauti.
Okay.
Communication.
So a question as far as since we're talking about the pineal gland, and how would this correlate with sun gazing, and how can people start to utilize that practice to activate themselves, or do you see a connection in the two?
All right, the hieroglyph, you had the hieroglyph, you have the hand, one hand forward, and then you see the sun rays. All right, so that's the on the hieroglyph, you see that sun glazing there. Now, now sun glazing definitely would help, because the sun, once again, is a source of energy. It stimulates the higher brain centers. It stimulates the melatonin and serotonin in the brain. So sun glazing definitely will help aid in the stimulation.
Awesome, brother. Hold on, I saw another message. I was trying to make sure I address those questions that that came to me. Hold on. Yes, for sure, you do have to watch nature, realign yourself, and that's what I've been doing, studying nature. And I always find it interesting that, okay, we have a question come through. I'll read that. But I always find it interesting that you can tie back nature in, really, when you want to get truly in balance with what or how things flow and go, you can look to nature for that reference. I.e. the elephant, how we looked at the elephant. Let me see, we have a question here from Brother Terrence Bey. So the question that we have is, how can we use this knowledge today? How can we utilize the knowledge that we just shared today? How can we use this in our everyday lives? How can we use this to help enhance this information on Ash Wednesdays, and start to incorporate it where we can have value from it?
All right. What you want to do is you want to YouTube the solfeggio scale. It's not the quote unquote SOLFEGGIO. SOLFEGGIO, solfeggio scale. You YouTube it, you'll see the C A432, you'll see C528. All right. We just want to give direct information. All right. Begin to listen to that. Also, YouTube or take a particular class on yoga and learn how to deal with controlled breathing. That's two. Change in diet. Increase your water intake. Use sun glazing. All right. So I just want to give specific, instructions because that's the answer calls, the question calls for that. All right. And then this presentation will place your mind in critical thinking analysis about words, about ceremonies, about rituals, about events, you know. So in getting a proper understanding on how to properly look at different ceremonies or rituals, events, and how that this false concept of different culture, that'll take a long way, take you a long way. And I also encourage people to relook at the day's program when they have time.
For sure. Okay, so we have another question. And is there a connection with the Kemetic wisdom and the Kundalini with the cobra of the Pharaoh's crown?
All right. You see the Uranus right here? All right. You see his plan? All right, because I don't want you to, all right, I don't want you to pick one over the other.
Okay.
All right, to pick one over the other, that's you fall into the line of that, like everybody else. You be like everybody else, different culture. I'm picking one over the other. No. Pick it's all. It's all leads to a common denominator, the pineal gland. That's the falsehood, that there's a different culture. So that to connect to this, what I'm presenting is very important because it gets you in the proper mindset of the interconnectivity of the all.
Right.
So you're not walking around with this distorted mind of different culture. My religion, my culture, it's all one.
So you're saying it's absolutely a connection. It's the same thing.
Absolutely.
Got you. Hope that was able to answer that question. Anyone else? Those are some good questions. Y'all appreciate it. Y'all got some more questions? You could direct me. So the next question is, why do they celebrate opening of the Kundalini in the Southern Hemisphere at the same time as the Northern Hemisphere? Going back to what you said, the different time frames.
You're talking about the opening of the Kundalini. You're referring to spring? I'm talking.
Hold on, let me see if I can get ask a question, get more elaboration on that question. Let's see.
Because not just be guessing on what she's trying to. I mean, I want to understand what she means as opposed to.
Okay, can you elaborate a little bit more on that question for me and send it to me in as a message?
Because there's a different. The spring is fall below the equator. You know, it's while spring in the Northern Hemisphere, it's fall. It'll be fall because it's a 6 months difference below the equator. So they wouldn't be celebrating what we're celebrating here.
In Brazil, they're celebrating at the same time as Mardi Gras. That's what I'm talking about in Brazil.
They're celebrating what at the same time as? That's
okay.
Because I can't. I don't know because I'm just now
it's
just
guessing.
Segment,
the carnival. Yeah, he says the carnival.
Purpose of guessing.
You say you guessing what they speaking about? I don't know.
That's what she's trying to say, but I don't want to do that. I want to know what she's saying because I want to know what she's asking.
Okay. Let me see. Hold on, I ain't getting no further.
Mardi Gras, I'm aware of.
I don't, I'm waiting for a response back. But I would say he's talking about the connection of the two. Ash Wednesday, the Mardi Gras, the fact that they have a carnival down in Brazil right now. So the connection of those two, why they're celebrating the same thing.
Yes, the Mardi Gras, Marti is Mars. And Mars is symbolic of war.
Right.
And then you saw Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras, you know, Mardi, Gras, as in gratitude, all right, gracious. So you're looking at this Fat Tuesday or this big war. It's symbolic of the wars. They're celebrating their defeat of us. They're conquering us. Conquering the Moroccan Empire. Conquering the Moroccan Empire.
So they celebrating for the exact same reason they celebrating in the war.
As this, the Moments Parade. As the Moments Parade, the Moments Parade, Mardi Gras, Shriners Parade, the Grottos Parade, the festival of the Reconquista in Valencia, Spain, same thing. Saying the feet of the mighty, powerful Moroccan Empire. The same reason why the European Shriners wear our Moorish fairs and use Moorish names. There's over 200 shrine temples throughout the world, and they use Moorish names. There's the Grotto temples, the 150 Grotto temples in the United States jurisdiction. They wear the black fairs. The Grottos wear the black fairs. The Shriners wear the red fairs. The Grottos use the image called the Morcana, and with a male with horns with a red turban. The Shriners' official greeting is Assalamu Alaikum. That's their official greeting. So if you ran into an Albion Shriner,
just hit him with the greetings, huh?
Assalamu Alaikum. And he said, whoa. Hold on, let me go to the official greeting of the Shriners. Right here. I said Assalamu Alaikum to you. The official, I'm Googling. The official greetings, here's the manual, the Shriners manual. Oh yeah, the official greetings of the Shriners. Assalamu Alaikum. I said that to you. Why you look like I was crazy?
Know how that go. We got another question. And it's in reference to the imagery of the snake. How did the concept of the snake being evil come about?
All right. This is a distortion of religion. That's why I'm going back to, this is the distortion of religion. It came about where you have, let's begin with the woman. The woman, which is the matriarchal and matrilineal principles of ancient civilization, and distorting and taking control of the wealth. So this is over a period of time, because you're looking at, you go back a couple of thousand years with the distortion, because the distortion doesn't happen a couple hundred years ago. You have the distortion even with the Babylonian. There's distortions even with the Babylonian. Where so that distortion is actually handed down over the period of centuries, where they're moving further and further away from the truth. So just putting in that realm of war and conquest.
It was a gradual process.
Yes.
It was a gradual process. So what's one of the ways that you could recommend bringing back some of these or reclaiming the different, like you spoke about the different religions, the truth of the different religions, the meaning of these religions? Is this something that we need to, I guess, reclaim as people ourselves? Is this something that we should be practicing? Ideally, I know we'd be practicing under a different mindset and a different energy. It wouldn't be the same traditional way that is being practiced now. So is that what you're recommending?
All right, what I'm recommending is you learn how to breathe.
Okay.
How to properly breathe. You said practice. How to practice how to systematically breathe. Take a yoga class. What I'm recommending is you listen to the solfeggio scale. Solfeggio scale. Right? What I'm recommending is that there is a look at different dietary laws. All right. What I'm recommending is you increase your water intake. I'm just trying to be basic here. Keep it plain. Remove the mysticism.
actual physical work, put it in. And you recommended yoga. I would like to also recommend, it's a book, it's a really easy book. It's called The Power of Breath. And it's like one of the little paperback books.
There you go.
And
yes.
Yeah, it's an awesome book. So if you all have it, it's like $9-10 online. You can find it anywhere, probably about that price. But it is excellent. All type of deep breathing techniques. And I agree, breath is so important, it's vital. I'm a birth worker as well. So helping mothers, helping with the breathing, the way that they tell you, like those breaths that you take when you're in labor, those breaths, those are some of the breaths that you'll read about in The Power of Breath. You know what I'm saying? Those are very powerful breaths. You can pull so much energy. You can get through so much, y'all. It ain't, well, any woman knows having a baby is not just a walk in the park. However, when you do those breaths properly, it's a tremendous difference. So I agree with you. Breathing properly is fundamental to life, for sure.
I just try to keep it plain. Yeah, get people, because if I notice that there's people who deal with this they just, I mean.
But those are foundational things. A lot of times when you get the foundational things down, yeah, right. You get the foundation down, you can move forward, like the fundamentals. It's like, doing math. You can't skip over adding and subtracting and think you can understand fractions. It's going to be difficult.
Right.
It'll be difficult. Well, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate our interview that we did today. Is there any subjects or any this topic that you want to go in and that we didn't address? Oh, I know, before I move forward, you spoke about etymology, but I didn't get you to break down the etymology of ash. Can you do that for us?
All right. I'm thinking, when I looked up the ash, and it tied me to Agnew, going back to the Sanskrit, and the Agnew is refers to as the fire god in Sanskrit. So they're dealing with the Agnew and the ash. So I took it back to the Sanskrit. As far as ash is concerned.
Gotcha.
Agni.
Now, are you a student also with numerology, or is it just?
No. I studied numerology a while ago, and then I wanted to really understand the etymology. I spent a lot of time in the etymology, studying etymology and grammar, vocabulary building, dictionary study skills. What I do know is the numbers in the relationship to astronomy, the metrology. I understand that.
Okay, well then you can break it down a little bit for me then. So the numerology,
180, the circumference of the moon, the diameter, radius of the moon. I understand that.
Okay, I got you. So, I did the numerology for today. The actual numerology for today is a 2, and you broke down what the 2 is on Tuesday. But is there any breakdown you can give us for 2 today, or the meaning of the 2, the vibration of the number 2, from your understanding of numbers? Because you said from that.
Well, I thought for the astronomy, I deal with from the measurement and the timekeeping, the cycles, the cosmic cycles. That's where my focus is. Cosmic cycles. The cosmic cycles are reflected in the measurements of the circumference, the distance, the circumference, arc, radius, diameter, and of the moon, the sun, the Saturn, different planets, and those numbers are preserved in the measurements of the human body, of statues, of the layout of cities. That's where my study is.
Got you. Okay.
Cosmic cycles preserved in the layout of cities and artwork and the statues in the human body. That's where my area of study.
Already. Okay. And in your area of study, with today being of a vibration of the number 2, does it have any significance for today's day?
That's not my area of study, sister.
That's out. That's okay. That's beyond your area. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I don't want to make stuff up, sister. People who
okay, all right, I got you. I was just trying to see, was it any tools in there, anywhere in there for the breakdown of today?
Keep it real. Yes.
I got you. No worries, brother. That's what's up. We're gonna stay in your sweet spot. We're gonna stay in your area of expertise. Well, one, I would like to thank everyone for tuning in and joining us today. Thank you, brother, for allowing me to host your show for today and do the interview with the brother Abdullah Bey. Thank you so much for joining me.
Give your information.
For sure. Oh yeah.
You doing the show, right?
Just talking. So everybody, how y'all can follow me and what I do. I am Amatullah MAMI Chi, and I host radio shows. So today, after this show, I have another show that I'll be hosting, the Empress Hour. Well, I won't be hosting, I'll be actually doing a segment on this show. But I host my own radio show called High Vibrations Radio. I'm all over the internet. The Real MAMI Chi, that's my handle. You can follow me. I focus on mindset, business development, maintaining high vibrations, and all that good holistic lifestyle stuff. So you can follow me on social media, always willing to connect and also network with others with like mindsets and see how we can start building in some of these bridges with one another and gain more knowledge. So thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Definitely appreciate you. Dr. Abdullah, she mentioned bridging. You want to give a little information on the unity piece that you're trying to do, getting more together? Yeah.
Oh, yes. We have the Moorish and Pure Restoration Caucus. We have some members on with us tonight.
Islam.
Since 2019, the Moorish and Pure Restoration Caucus there was a need. And as we studied international law and treaty studies and treaty cases, that we saw a need to facilitate dealing with the recovery of lost Moorish sovereignty. How do we recover our lost Moorish sovereignty? What is needed? Making a call out to the various Moorish body politic and also connecting to those who are unconscious and unconscious Moorish entities and facilitating, a political platform, to bring about the political unity of our various Moorish body politics entities and so forth, to recover our lost Moorish sovereignty and to reconnect under reversion to sovereignty as we re-enter the international community, not as a new state, but as an old and original state. And also to reconnect and reestablish diplomacy with the treaty nation, Great Britain, France, the Netherlands, Denmark, Sardinia, Spain, England, and so forth. In the 1952 case between France and the United States, France stood on Moorish treaties to make her claim of the most favored nation claim. Treaties between Moorish bilateral treaties between 1631 to 1892. France stood on those Moorish treaties. So we go to UnitedRepublicOfMorocco.com, UnitedRepublicOfMorocco.com. You have the Moorish and Pure Restoration Caucus.org. We can have somebody put that in the chat. When I put that in the chat, one of y'all put that in the chat. All right. You also have I am co-founder along with Tamara Ill of the Academy of Providence, academyofprovidence.org. We have the etymology classes. We have the law classes. We have contract law. We finished up the public administration international law course. I'm currently teaching the the grammar course, Hooked on Grammar 301, by dealing with phrases and clauses, infinitives, participles, and gerunds. We had the Hooked on Grammar 201 in the summer, where I dealt with clauses, noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverbial clauses. So yes, so we're looking us again to more specifically is to exercise the pre-existing sovereignty that was once exercised by the emperors, Moorish beys, caliphs, emirs. So we have to bring our people. We have to structure a political platform to represent our people in the international arena. So thank you for giving me a chance to talk on that. I have my book. I have my books, the Venus book. You go to mooresandmasonry.org. You have my etymology and vocabulary, something that you one book, etymology and vocabulary book. You have the Compass and Square and timekeeping book, Illuminati, which I've shown this earlier. And then we have my book, Moors and Masonry, and coming way soon, Moors and Masonry Part 2. I'm going to have the pre-order. Pretty soon, I'm going to have the pre-order button for Moors and Masonry Part 2 on my website. Coming your way soon. And I thank you again for allowing me to illuminate the people tonight.
Well, we appreciate you. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for always sharing good information to me and my audience on the Ring and Stone Network. So I appreciate that. And family, also look for us around 4th of July, because there's certain things that I like to have in my life. And I love when, he does the 4th of July thing. If you're available, at some point. And then look for us again. I'll probably be doing
a couple of shows that day. I'll probably be about 2 or 3 shows that day.
There's certain things I miss about, And then,
we can probably do the day before, so like the day before and the day off. I'll probably be on 4 or 5 different shows.
I hear that. we may have to get together and look at this war they got, because I listened to a girl with the history of that region. And at one time, wasn't that region the Moorish region at one point? We know that this was a Black planet at one point, but when, I listened to a lady go back to 900 years. 900 years, them boys been over there fighting, huh?
No such people.
Okay, but I mean, melanated planet. You know what I
mean?
Melanin. That's not a nationality. Melanated is not a nationality.
But it's a description of a people.
It's a description, yeah.
It's definitely a good description.
No such people either.
Okay.
No, melanated is not a people. So there's no such people.
Okay.
No,
I'm melanated. I'm melanated.
No, but it's not. It's not a national identity of a people. All right. When I say melanated, melanated is not a national identity of a people, not a nationality of a people.
It's a physical descriptor.
Right. Yeah, but it's not a nationality. That's what. So when I say melanated, there's no such people. As far as nationality.
We talking about 2 different things. I can go to Brooklyn and find melanated people. They Black, they dark skinned, they got kinky hair. That's melanated. You know what I mean?
I hear what you're
and
saying.
They all could be from different nationalities. You see what I mean? Because they could be from Jamaica, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to do that argument. I just wanted to look at the whole point.
The only reason I'm doing this is because we got people who are listening, Yusiko. We got people who's listening. And that's we have new people who are listening. And we want to make it very clear. We talk about restoring protection to our people. Saying melanated is not going to do it. Melanated is not going to bring our people under Moorish treaty protection. You have to identify the people by their nationality. That's why I'm being specific as that, because we're talking about, because you asked me about what are we doing to facilitate.
There's a difference in being specific and pigeonholing me. See, now you pigeonholing me, because I'm just saying, we're looking at people, you like nationality. There's 2 different topics. Now, if we want to get back and talk about nationality, I'm with you.
That's my man right here.
If I see you in Philly, I ain't gonna come up and say, bro, what's your nationality? I might say you a Moor. I might even say you African American. But we know one thing: you melanated. You see what I'm saying? No, but I don't want to do that. My melanated brother.
I want protection for the people.
You know,
I want protection for the people. That's all I want. I want protection. Because they ain't gonna get it done. That melanated is not gonna get it done. I want protection for our people.
That's cool. That's cool because you know I've done. You know I have no problem with my nationality and who I am. I'm just saying, but that's cool. Let's get together. I mean, if you have some thoughts on it, get back with me about the origin of the war and, you know, are these people fighting over our history? You know what I mean? Like that. Because when you see, like, let's say you look at the capital or the main building in Moscow, that's a Moorish building. You know what I mean? Have you ever looked at it? The domes, the blah, blah, blah.
Of course. Yes.
And so at some point,
the Kremlin.
You know,
the Kremlin.
Yes, the Kremlin.
Yes.
You know, so it's another part of our history that got stolen, twisted.
Oh, there's more. Absolutely.
Right. And so, you know, if you have some thought on it, you know, let me know. We can go for it.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
Yeah, man, as far as the Kremlin, and then you have the Taj Mahal. You see the similarity there.
Right.
The Taj Mahal.
Yeah. You know, so that's what I'm saying. Also, family, around March 23rd, I'm gonna bring some more readers in, and we're gonna do some reading. If you go to the Ring and Stone Network, we posted what we did a week or so ago, and it was a really great reading. You know, you can get it, and they were giving pretty in-depth readings. They weren't giving glossing it over. They was working you, even to the point that if you don't want the truth, don't get the reading, because they read in depth on things like. They went in it was like one sister got exposed, her sneaking getaway cruise, and one of the sisters, you know, like, ain't you going on a cruise? You know what I mean? Like that. So they're pretty good. They're excellent with what they do. And so but I'm Brother Yusiku Ill. I appreciate you, brother.
That's my man right there. It's my man.
I love you. I appreciate you coming on the network. Let's build again. I might have to go back to being a little more regular so that I build my audience back up. But thanks, family, for coming out, and y'all be peaceful. And, you know, come back and visit us again, or check out the Ring and Stone Network and there on YouTube, and you'll see some of the work that we've been trying to do, trying to deal with people that their gifts is turning on, and they're starting to be able to see, feel, read. And then I'm going to do an interview with a sister, a Moor, and a white girl that deal with medicines and the snake medicines and the drinking of snake medicine. One of the brothers his name is Dooley, so we're going to do an interview. I spent a weekend with the brother, and it was fantastic. And the snake medicine community is fantastic. And, you know, the cobra, like drinking cobra, just brings you up. You spend the whole day, start seeing numbers. It mellows you out. It helps clean your kidneys and liver out, cold medicine. So it's really powerful. You know, and it doesn't really have any major adverse effects.
I'm going to read up on that. That's all right.
Excuse me?
I'm going to read up on that.
Yeah, the read up on it and the combo, because we did some frog medicine for cleaning, you know, so the frog, and it was amazing because even though he gave most of the people the same amount, the one girl that was the nurse that dealt with a lot of sickness, frog stayed with her for 24 hours. So it just purged her for 24 hours. And most of the time, that particular process is only like 40 minutes. You know what I mean? That the brother do. And so I'm gonna try to bring him on. We just haven't confirmed the date, you know, like that. But it's a wonderful community. Most of the people there were metaphysical, you know, in the point that they were actively working on it. We did sacred massage, and we also did, the sister brought up like about 40 pieces and did she gave us a 2-hour concert on sound healing, you know, so it's really, really powerful. That community is so talented that you when you're around them, you just have a great time. But I'm talking too much. I'm gonna sign off. Peace and love, y'all. You know, and thank you.
Peace and love, y'all.
And did you say,
You're welcome. Thank you.
We're going to tonight, we're going to where, your YouTube, or where you doing?
Oh, yes, my bad, y'all. I'm on Blog Talk. It's on Blog Talk, so you can search the Empress Hour, or also search Seed Dropper Nation. That's the station that we on, and the show is the Empress Hour. It will be at 10 p.m. Central Standard, so that's 11 Eastern, for anybody who want to tune in. For my late night rockers, you know, you come in and join us. We got some good topics for today. It'll be couple guests on the show, and then I'll be doing my segment, which is called Show Me the Money, which I know how to get the money. So you got to know how to get to the money. But anyone who want to join, you open. Thank you so much for the opportunity again, Brother You. And y'all have a wonderful evening.
All right, peace and love, family.
Peace and love.